Have you ever stopped and noticed something that just doesn't make sense? A man works under the blazing heat all day long, lifting bricks, carrying cement, pushing his body to the limit from sunrise to sunset. And somehow, by the end of the month, he's still barely getting by. Then you look at someone else, a businessman who spends most of his day in a few meetings, makes a couple of phone calls, maybe signs a few papers, and yet his lifestyle keeps getting bigger. New cars, more investments, more properties, and somehow money keeps flowing into his account like it never runs out.
So what's really going on here? Is the worker lazy? Is he not sacrificing enough? Of course he is. He gives his energy, his time, his strength, sometimes even his health. He works harder than most people ever will. But if that's true, then why does he still struggle while someone else keeps getting richer with less physical effort?
Because the truth is, this game was never designed around hard work alone. The real game is built around systems. And today, we're going to talk about the mindset that separates wealthy people from everyone else. The mindset that allows certain people to escape the endless cycle of waking up, working all day, getting exhausted, paying bills, sleeping, and repeating the same routine for decades. This is what I call the lazy millionaire mindset.
In this video, you're going to understand why working harder by itself almost never changes your financial future, how powerful systems are what actually create long-term wealth, and how some people build money-making machines that continue working for them even when they're asleep. So if you genuinely want a different future, pay close attention to every part of this video, because one idea can completely shift the direction of your life.
Ever since we were kids, we've all been taught the exact same formula. Study hard, get good grades, find a safe job, work honestly, and eventually life will work out. That's the promise most people grow up believing. But then reality hits. Millions of educated people are still searching for stable jobs. Countless workers spend 12 to 14 hours every single day trying to survive. Yet they're constantly stressed about bills, loans, rent, and EMIs. Even people who retire after working their entire lives often continue worrying about money. Now think about this carefully. If hard work alone was the secret to wealth, then the richest people in the world would be the ones doing the toughest physical labor. Construction workers would be millionaires. Farmers would own private jets. Factory workers would be financially free. But that's not what we see. In fact, the people who work the hardest are often the ones trapped the deepest. Meanwhile, the people who build systems are the ones who become wealthy. Take a simple real-world example. A laborer may work 12 exhausting hours a day and still only earn a few dollars. But the owner of the construction company, he might only spend time managing operations, handling deals, or attending meetings, yet every project brings him massive profits. Both people are working, but there's one critical difference. One person is selling labor, the other person owns the system. And history has shown this pattern again and again. Kings, royal families, and powerful empires stayed wealthy for generations, not because they worked harder physically, but because they controlled systems, land, trade, taxes, businesses, influence, power, while ordinary workers and farmers continued grinding endlessly just to survive. And here's the scary part most people never realize. From childhood, society trains us to believe that the answer to everything is simply more effort. Work harder, study harder, sacrifice more, push yourself more. But almost nobody teaches us how to create systems that generate income automatically. Why? Because very few people ever learn to think that way. Most people stay trapped in a cycle where they exchange their time for money their entire lives. And the moment they stop working, the income stops too.
So understand this clearly. Hard work might help you survive. It might help you pay bills. It might even help you stay afloat. But systems are what create freedom. And now comes the most important question of all. If working harder isn't the real answer, then what is? Because this is where everything starts to change. Chapter 1. The Power of Systems. Let me ask you this for a second.
Do you really think people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or Mukesh Ambani spend 20 hours a day trying to handle every little thing on their own? Do you think they personally oversee every employee, every task, every customer interaction from morning until night? No, they don't. And yet, somehow, money keeps coming in every single minute. So what's the reason behind it? The answer is simple. They built systems. Take Mukesh Ambani, for example. He might spend only a few highly focused hours working in a day, but his businesses never stop operating. Every second, someone is using mobile internet, shopping in a store, streaming content, or buying products connected to his companies. And because of that, money continues flowing, whether he's actively working or not. His personal time is limited, just like everyone else's, but the systems he created keep running endlessly. Now, think about a teacher. In a normal classroom, a teacher can only teach maybe 30 students at a time. There's a limit to how many people one person can reach physically. But imagine that same teacher records an online course and uploads it to the internet. Suddenly, thousands, maybe even millions of students can learn from that one course. The teacher could be asleep, out traveling, relaxing at home, or spending time with family, and the course would still keep generating sales and helping people at the same time. That's the difference right there. The effort may start the same, but the system completely changes the outcome. Hard work alone will always have a ceiling because there are only 24 hours in a day. No matter how motivated you are, your time and energy are limited. But systems don't work like humans. Systems can continue running day and night without stopping. And honestly, this is one of the biggest differences between people who stay stuck financially and people who build real wealth. Most poor people trade their time for money. Rich people build systems that make money for them, even when they're not working. Chapter 2, The Formula of Money and Time. Most people grow up believing in one simple equation. Money comes from trading your time and effort. Work more hours, make more money. And honestly, on the surface, that sounds completely reasonable. But here's the catch. Time is limited. No matter who you are, you only get 24 hours in a day. And when your income depends only on how many hours you can work, there's always going to be a limit to how much you can earn. Now, compare that to the way wealthy people think. Their mindset is completely different. They don't focus only on working harder. They focus on building systems that can grow without constantly demanding more of their time. They understand leverage. They understand scalability. That's the difference. Think about it like this. A laborer might spend 12 exhausting hours working just to make a small amount of money for that day. But a creator can spend 1 hour making a single video, and if that video reaches millions of people, that 1 hour of effort could keep generating income for months or even years. The work was done once, but the results continue long after. And that's the real power most people never think about. Scalability changes everything. There was once a small YouTuber uploading videos that barely anyone watched. In the beginning, almost nobody paid attention. The views were low, the growth was slow, and it probably felt like nothing was happening. But he kept showing up. He stayed consistent, kept learning, kept improving, and slowly his content started reaching more people. Then, one day, everything changed. His videos exploded across the platform, and suddenly the same videos that once struggled for views started bringing in income every single day. Even while he sleeps, those videos are still working for him. That's the real game most people never realize. Poor people usually spend their lives selling time. Rich people spend their time creating assets. And once those assets are built, they continue paying over and over again, long after the original work is finished. Chapter 3, The Power of Leverage. Now, this is where the game really changes, and the key word is leverage. Wealthy people understand something that most average people completely miss. If you only depend on your own time and effort, there's always going to be a limit to how far you can go. No matter how hard you work, you still only have 24 hours in a day. That's why smart people stop trying to do everything alone. They use other people's talents, other people's systems, and other people's connections to create bigger results. That's what leverage really means. Think about it like this. On your own, you can only do so much in a single day. But the moment you build a team of 10 people, your reach instantly becomes 10 times bigger. And when you create systems that can run automatically, something even more powerful happens. Your business keeps moving, your content keeps working, and your income can keep growing even while you're sleeping, traveling, or completely offline. That's how rich people think. They don't trade hours for money forever. They build leverage that keeps producing results again and again. Henry Ford explained this idea perfectly. One day, someone questioned how he became so successful when he didn't personally know every technical detail inside his company. Ford simply smiled and said, "I don't have to know everything myself. I just need the right experts around me." And that mindset changes everything. Most people spend years trying to master every single skill on their own. They believe they have to carry the entire load themselves. But wealthy people focus on something different. They build strong networks, smart systems, and teams that multiply their results far beyond what one person could ever do alone. And today, leverage is easier than it has ever been before. One YouTube video can keep getting views for years. One digital product can keep selling while you sleep. One automated business can continue running without needing your constant attention every second of the day. You put in the work once, and the system keeps rewarding you over and over again. That is the lazy millionaire mindset. Chapter 4, Fear, the prison you can't see. Now, let's get into the one thing that holds most people back more than anything else. Fear. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. Fear of losing money. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of what other people might think or say. And without even realizing it, that fear slowly traps millions of people in lives that feel safe, predictable, and painfully average. Most people spend their lives asking themselves, what if this goes wrong? But people who build success think differently. They ask, what if this actually works? And that small change in thinking can completely change the direction of a person's life. Think about Elon Musk for a second. When he was building SpaceX, he risked almost everything he had. A lot of people thought he had lost his mind. They laughed at him, they doubted him, and honestly, from the outside, it probably did look crazy. But when someone asked him why he was willing to take such a massive risk, his answer revealed a completely different mindset. He said that he thought about the absolute worst-case scenario, and even if everything failed, he knew he would still walk away having learned something valuable. That's the kind of thinking that separates successful people from everyone else. Millionaires don't treat failure like the end of the world. They treat it like information, like feedback, like another step that teaches them what works and what doesn't. So here's something simple but powerful you can start doing right now. Every time fear shows up in your mind, stop and ask yourself 3 questions. What's the worst thing that could realistically happen? What's the best thing that could happen? And if the worst case scenario actually happened, could you survive it? Most of the time, you'll realize something important. Your mind made the danger feel much bigger than it really is. Fear gets stronger every time you avoid it. Every time you run from it, it grows. But the moment you finally turn around and face it, that's the moment your growth truly begins. Chapter 5. Focus is your greatest advantage. The truth is, successful people aren't always the ones working the hardest. Most of the time, they're just better at guarding their attention. Every morning, you wake up with a limited amount of mental energy, and the way you spend that energy decides the direction of your life. But most people burn it on things that add no real value. Endless scrolling on their phones, pointless gossip, comparing themselves to other people, negative thoughts, comparing themselves to other people, negative thoughts, constant distractions pulling their mind in every direction. Then, by the end of the day, they feel mentally drained, even though they didn't actually accomplish anything meaningful. But people who build wealth think differently. They don't try to do 100 things at once. Instead, they put their full attention on a small number of actions that create the biggest results. That's why there's a famous moment when both Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were asked the exact same question. What's the real secret behind success? And surprisingly, both of them gave the same one-word answer: focus. Not multitasking, not staying busy all day, not hustle culture, just focus. Because average people spread their attention everywhere, trying to do everything at once. But millionaires understand something most people never realize. Real power comes from concentrating deeply on the few things that truly matter. And when you learn how to protect your focus, you stop wasting your energy. Your decisions become sharper, and your actions start creating results that completely change your life. Chapter 6. Your network shapes your future. If you look closely at almost every successful person, you'll notice one thing they all seem to have in common: strong, valuable relationships. The people you surround yourself with can completely change the direction of your life. They influence the opportunities you get, the way you think, and ultimately the future you create for yourself. Most average people try to handle everything on their own. They believe they have to figure out every problem by themselves. But people who think like millionaires understand something far more important. You don't have to know every answer. What really matters is being connected to the right people, the people who can challenge you, guide you, and open doors you could never reach alone. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He didn't create Pixar all by himself. He brought together brilliant artists, creative minds, and visionary people who shared the same passion. And because of those relationships, they didn't just make movies. They completely changed the world of animation forever. That's the real power of relationships. That's leverage. The lazy millionaire mindset is built around one simple principle: create relationships where everyone wins. Instead of constantly thinking, what can I get from this person? Start asking yourself a different question. What value can I bring into their life? Because real wealth, the kind that lasts for years, is never built alone. It's built on trust, teamwork, loyalty, and connections that grow stronger over time. Chapter 7. Automation. Making money while you sleep. Most people spend their entire lives stuck in the same cycle every single day. They wake up, answer emails, deal with tiny problems, finish repetitive tasks, and then do it all over again the next morning. And that's exactly where most people stay trapped. But wealthy people think differently. Instead of asking, how do I work harder? They ask, how can I make this run automatically? And honestly, that one question can completely change your future. Think about McDonald's for a second. Their success was never just about selling burgers and fries. The real power behind the company was the system they created. No matter which country you visit, the process feels almost the same. The food, the service, the workflow, everything follows a system designed to run consistently. And that consistency is what turned a small business into a global empire. The same thing is happening in today's world with modern automation. Right now, businesses are using automated emails, AI-powered tools, online stores, scheduling software, and content systems that keep running every hour of the day, even while the owner is asleep. The work doesn't stop just because the person stops working. Look at Jeff Bezos. He didn't build Amazon by personally packing every single order forever. He focused on building systems that could grow far beyond his own time and energy. And that's the real difference between people who stay busy all their lives and people who actually become wealthy. Chapter 8. Abundance versus scarcity. One of the biggest differences between people who build wealth and people who stay stuck usually can't be seen on the outside. It's not the clothes they wear, the car they drive, or even the money in their bank account. It all starts in the mind. People with a scarcity mindset are constantly thinking there isn't enough to go around. They believe opportunities are rare. Success belongs to only a few people. And whenever someone else wins, it somehow means they lose. They look at life like a tiny pie, where every slice someone takes leaves less for everyone else. But people with an abundance mindset see the world completely differently. They believe opportunities exist everywhere. They understand that success isn't limited, and one person's achievement doesn't take anything away from them. In fact, when they see someone else succeed, it motivates them because it proves success is possible. They think, if another person can do it, why can't I? And that single shift changes everything. It changes how you take risks, how you react to failure, and how boldly you move toward your goals. Before Jim Carrey became one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, he did something unusual. He wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He kept that check with him everywhere he went, and every day he imagined the life he wanted, as if it had already happened. Years later, that exact amount became reality when he was paid $10 million for a movie role. Was it some kind of magic? Not at all. What changed his life was the belief that pushed him to keep going, keep improving, and keep taking action long before the results ever showed up. His mindset shaped his behavior, and his behavior shaped his future. That's what many millionaires understand before they ever become wealthy. They train their minds first, because real wealth is usually built internally long before it appears on the outside. Chapter 9. Real wealth means owning your time. Most people grow up believing that being wealthy is all about having more money. But the truth is, real wealth has never been about money alone. Real wealth is freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms. Most average people spend their entire lives trading hours for paychecks. They work more to earn more, and in the process, they slowly give away the most valuable thing they have: their time. Millionaires think differently. Instead of constantly selling their time, they build systems, businesses, and investments that give their time back to them. That's the real difference. Richard Branson once explained that his businesses were never created just to make money. For him, success meant freedom. Freedom to travel wherever he wanted. Freedom to try new ideas without fear. Freedom to actually enjoy life instead of being trapped inside endless work. And honestly, that's the goal most people are secretly chasing, even if they don't realize it yet. Because here's the thing, money can disappear and be earned again. Businesses can fail and be rebuilt, but time works differently. Once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. That's why the lazy millionaire mindset isn't about avoiding work or becoming lazy. It's about escaping the cycle of pointless busyness that keeps people exhausted, but never truly free. It's about creating a life where your systems, your assets, and your decisions work harder for you than you work for them. Chapter 10. Emotional Control and the Power of Staying Silent. There's one trait that almost always separates highly successful people from everyone else, and that's emotional control. Most people react the moment something goes wrong. They let fear, stress, anger, or excitement take over their thinking. But people who build real wealth and long-term success don't move like that. They stay calm, even when the pressure is intense. When the market crashes, average people panic and start making emotional decisions. They sell too early, overreact, and let fear control them. But experienced investors stay patient. They understand that emotions can destroy good judgment faster than bad luck ever can. That's why they train themselves to think clearly, especially during difficult moments. Successful people also understand something most people completely ignore: the quiet power of silence. In negotiations, business meetings, and important conversations, they don't feel the need to talk all the time. Instead, they listen carefully, observe people closely, and speak only when it actually matters. Because the truth is, the person who talks too much usually gives away more than they should. They reveal insecurity, desperation, or weakness without even realizing it. Silence, on the other hand, creates control. It creates mystery. It makes people pay attention. And truly powerful people know exactly when to stay quiet and let that silence do the work for them. Chapter 11. Multiple income streams. Most people spend their entire lives depending on just one paycheck, and the scary part is, the moment that paycheck disappears, everything around them starts falling apart. Bills pile up, stress takes over, and suddenly their whole future feels uncertain. That's exactly why wealthy people think differently. They never rely on a single source of income to survive. Instead, they build multiple streams that keep making money from different directions at the same time. They invest their money, start businesses, create royalties, sell digital products, earn from real estate, and build automated systems that continue working even when they're not. One source of income slowly turns into many, and that's what creates real financial security. Because millionaires understand one simple truth: your future becomes dangerous the moment it depends on only one stream of income. Chapter 12. Failure isn't the finish line. If you look closely at the journey of every millionaire, you'll notice something important. Failure was always part of the story. The real difference is that they never saw failure as the end. They didn't let one mistake define their future. Thomas Edison once explained that while creating the light bulb, he didn't fail thousands of times. In his mind, he simply found thousands of methods that didn't work. And that way of thinking changes everything. Most people treat failure like a warning sign, telling them to stop. They see setbacks as proof that they're not capable enough, smart enough, or meant to succeed. But millionaire minds see failure differently. To them, failure is information. It's feedback. It's a lesson showing them what needs to improve. That's why they don't stay down for long. They adjust, learn from the experience, and keep moving forward with more wisdom than before. And over time, while everyone else gives up, they keep growing stronger until eventually they win. Final chapter: the lazy millionaire code. After everything you've heard today, there's only one thing left to ask yourself. Will this just be another video you watched for a few minutes, or will it actually change the way you live your life? Because the truth is, information by itself has never changed anyone. People change when they take action. And that brings us to the real lazy millionaire code. Stop believing that working harder every single day is the only path to success. Instead of constantly trading your time for money, start building systems that can work even when you don't. Learn skills that create real value in the modern world. Create leverage. Use technology, tools, and smart strategies to make life easier instead of harder. Automate the repetitive things that drain your energy. Focus deeply on what truly matters. Protect your mind, your time, and your peace like they're your greatest assets, because they are. Build strong relationships with people who inspire growth. Create multiple streams of income so your entire future doesn't depend on one paycheck. Stop seeing failure as the end of the road and start seeing it as feedback that pushes you closer to success. Think long term. Invest in growth that compounds over time. And more than anything else, work toward buying back your freedom. Because real wealth is about far more than money sitting in a bank account. Real wealth is waking up in the morning without fear. It's having control over your own time. It's being able to live life on your own terms instead of constantly surviving someone else's schedule. So if this message truly connected with you, don't just hear it and forget it tomorrow. Do something with it. Take action. Try new things. Learn new skills. Make mistakes. Grow through the process. Keep moving forward, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because one day, if you stay consistent long enough, you may become the architect of your own freedom and the creator of the life you once thought was impossible. Thank you for watching Inspire Nation's story. And if this video changed the way you think, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone who truly needs to hear this message today. And always remember, the goal in life is not to work yourself into exhaustion. The real goal is to build a life where freedom finally starts working for you.